A woman found her dead son living in an abandoned trailer. When they finally met, he said something shocking. Lauren had always believed her son, Daryl, was lost to her forever. When he was a teenager, he was involved in a devastating car accident, and despite her relentless search for him and attempts to get help, he vanished and was presumed dead. For the past 20 years, Lauren had mourned his absence and tried to move forward, but the ache of losing her son never truly faded. So when a stranger called one day to inform her that Daryl was alive and living in an abandoned trailer on the outskirts of town, she was overwhelmed with disbelief, hope, and fear. Could it really be true? Had her son been alive all this time, just a few miles away, without her knowledge? Without hesitation, Lauren set out to find the trailer and confirm the truth of this incredible revelation. She drove through the winding streets of the small town, her heart racing with anticipation. When she finally located the trailer, she parked her car and approached the door with trepidation. She didn't know what to expect, but she knew that she had to see for herself if her son was really inside. As she knocked tentatively on the door, she couldn't help but feel overwhelmed with emotion. The thought of finally being reunited with her beloved son, whom she had thought was gone forever, was almost too much to bear. She held her breath and waited, her heart pounding in her chest. What would she find on the other side of that door? Would her son really be there, waiting for her after all these years? Lauren waited anxiously for a response to her knock, her heart racing in her chest. After what felt like an eternity, she heard the sound of footsteps approaching the door. She held her breath as the door creaked open, revealing a face that she had thought she would never see again. There, standing in front of her, was her son Daryl. He had grown up and was now a man, but there was no mistaking those familiar features. Lauren couldn't hold back the tears that sprang to her eyes as she saw her son alive and well after all these years. "Mom," Daryl said, his voice filled with shock and disbelief. "Is it really you?" Lauren nodded, unable to speak through her tears. She threw her arms around her son and held him tight, feeling as if a weight had been lifted off her shoulders. It was hard to believe that after all these years of believing he was gone forever, she was finally reunited with her beloved son. As they embraced, Lauren couldn't help but wonder how this was possible. How had Daryl managed to survive the accident and end up living in this abandoned trailer? And why had he never reached out to her or let her know that he was alive? There were so many questions that needed to be answered, and Lauren knew that it was going to be a long and difficult road to get to the truth. But for now, all that mattered was that she was finally reunited with her son, and she was determined to do whatever it took to help him heal and move on from the past. Together, mother and son began the journey of rebuilding their relationship and discovering the truth about what had happened all those years ago. As Lauren and Daryl sat down to talk and catch up on the years that had been lost, Lauren couldn't help but feel overwhelmed with emotion. She listened in shock as Daryl told her about the events that had occurred after the accident. He had survived the crash but had sustained serious injuries that left him unconscious and in critical condition. When he finally awoke in the hospital, he had been disoriented and had no memory of his past. He had been taken in by a kind family who found him on the side of the road and had given him a new identity, believing that he was a victim of amnesia. Daryl had spent the past 20 years living with this new family, struggling to piece together the fragments of his past and trying to come to terms with the fact that he had no memory of his old life. He had always felt like something was missing, like there was a part of him that he couldn't access, and he had always wondered what had happened to his mother and whether she was okay. Lauren listened in shock as Daryl told her about his life, feeling guilty for not being there for him and not realizing that he was still alive. She promised Daryl that she would do everything in her power to help him recover his memories and discover the truth about his past. Together, they began the journey of piecing together the puzzle of what had happened all those years ago. As they delved deeper into the mystery, they encountered many obstacles and setbacks. There were moments of frustration and disappointment, as well as moments of joy and triumph. But through it all, Lauren remained determined to help her son and to finally lay the ghosts of their past to rest. As they worked together to unravel the truth, they also began to heal and move on from the pain of the past. As Lauren and Daryl continued their quest to uncover the truth about his past, they focused on trying to help Daryl regain his memories. They visited doctors and specialists, hoping to find a way to access the memories that seemed to be just out of reach. It was a long and difficult journey, but eventually, they had a breakthrough. With the help of a specialized therapist, Daryl was able to start recalling small bits and pieces of his past. At first, it was just fragments, a fleeting image here, a familiar smell there. But as he continued to work with the therapist, his memories started to become more vivid and clear. Lauren was overjoyed as she watched her son make progress and start to remember his old life. She was amazed by his resilience and determination, and she couldn't believe how much he had overcome in the years since the accident. As Daryl's memories started to return, he began to fill in the gaps of his past. He remembered his childhood, his family, and his friends. He remembered the accident that had changed his life forever, and he finally understood why he had been living with an identity that wasn't his own for the past 20 years. It was a long and emotional journey, but as Daryl's memories came back, he and his mother were finally able to find closure and move on from the pain of the past. They were able to forgive themselves and each other, and they were able to rebuild their relationship and create a new future together. After months of hard work and determination, Daryl and his mother were finally able to put the pieces of their past back together. They had learned the truth about what had happened after the accident, and they had found a way to move on from the pain and grief of the past. As they sat together on the porch of their newly renovated home, looking out at the sunset, they both knew that they had come a long way. They had been through so much, but they had found a way to heal and to build a new future together. "I'm so proud of you, Daryl," Lauren said, reaching out to take her son's hand. "You've overcome so much, and you've become such a strong and amazing person. I couldn't have asked for a better son, and I couldn't have asked for a better mother," Daryl replied, squeezing her hand. "I know that we've been through a lot, but I'm grateful to have you by my side. I love you, Mom." Lauren smiled and rested her head on Daryl's shoulder, enveloped in a profound sense of peace and contentment. She recognized the challenges they had faced, but she also understood that those struggles had drawn them closer and made them stronger. As they gazed at the sunset, she felt assured that they were prepared to confront whatever the future held, united as a family.